This video is sponsored by Raycon.
If we're going to have a playoffs, you better make the points matter as much as possible.
Like, that sucks, but like, that's sports.
I don't like that some dumb variable could prevent you from winning a championship in the final race.
Literally,
that's a tough pill to swallow.
That is sports.
We're racing. Huh? We're racing. It's not a sport?
Much better. Amidst the never-ending debates over proper points formats, sometimes you just gotta drown out the noise. And my friends at Raycon are helping me do just that. Their essential open earbuds have crystal clear sound, but also keep my ears open for when I'm out and about. They're lightweight, water-resistant, and have 8 hours of battery life with a charging case that lasts 36 hours, so I can keep jamming all day long and then some. Both their opens and their everydays have become a regular part of my routine, and I haven't even mentioned their Black Friday sale. From everyday essentials to new releases, Raycon audio products are currently running for up to 30% off site-wide. But these deals won't last long, so make sure you click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/EllyOpen, ELLYOPEN, to get up to 30% off during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Again, that's buyraycon.com/EllyOpen, link in the description. Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring this video, and we've now seen 12 iterations of the winner-takes-all NASCAR championship race, and in each one there have been 4 contenders, the Championship 4, the final 4 teams left standing in the NASCAR playoffs. As you might expect, these 4 tend to lead the most laps in the championship race, and the one among them who leads the most usually wins it all. In 2024, Joey Logano led the most laps in the championship race and won the championship. Same for Kyle Larson in 2021, led the same amount of laps and also won the championship. Same for Martin Truex in 2017, Chase Elliott in 2020, Kyle Busch 2019, Joey Logano 2022, and Denny Hamlin in 2025. Oh, wait, no. He didn't win it. He led more laps than anybody ever has in the championship race, and he didn't win it.
No.
Of course, the uninitiated will try to tell you he couldn't perform when the lights were brightest, but as those of you who tuned in 2 Sundays ago know, it runs so much deeper than that. After last year, I was pissed, but now I'm just sad. So today we're going to look at some of the biggest would-be champions in NASCAR history, and hopefully by the end, you'll be sad too. Let's go! Of course, there's a lot of big and interesting names that have never claimed the cup. Fireball Roberts, Junior Johnson, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Jr., just to name a few. But for our purposes, I want to delve into 3 specific examples. 3 drivers whose potentials were doomed to be framed by hindsight, as their destinies were cruelly ripped away from them. Cheery stuff. Starting off with Mark Martin, a man who knows a lot about losing championships, and I know what you're thinking. Couldn't you say that about most drivers? Yeah, but Mark holds an especially special distinction, as he's finished a record 5 seasons in second place without a single trip to the top. He has never been the champ, but he was the runner-up in 09, 02, 98, 94, and most painfully, 1990. That's because, in all honesty, he shouldn't have lost this championship. No, seriously, if you tally up all of his results from that season, he should have finished with 4,450 points, 20 more than first-place Dale Earnhardt. So what the hell happened? Well, after his first win of the season at Richmond, where he beat Dale Earnhardt, Earnhardt's car owner Richard Childress alerted the officials to Martin's engine. Turns out he had a carburetor spacer that was half an inch too tall per the rulebook, but as the team rightfully argued, it could only provide an advantage if it was bolted on and allowed extra air to slip through the intake manifold. The problem is their spacers were welded, so there's no possible way that more air could have gotten through. And besides, they had already used this spacer for a year and hadn't been busted before. It just wasn't that big a deal. So what did NASCAR do? Only handed him the biggest fine and points penalty in the sport's history. As Benny Parsons famously said,
they fined him $40,000 and 46 points. I mean, that's like hanging a guy for shoplifting.
Curiously enough, they let the win stand, but docked Mark the same amount of points as if he had finished a lap down, 46 to be exact. And when questioned by the crew, the director of operations said, if you lose this championship, you best lose it by more than 46 points. They lost it by 26.
It's been a great year. It's tough. It's a tough one to lose. We got beat by the best.
There wasn't a lot of remorse in the moment, though. After all, he did have almost 9 whole months to close that gap, and he was also just 31 years old at the time. He'd still have plenty of chances to win the cup, but as it would turn out, through a career that lasted until he was 54, this is the closest he would ever get. Though if you want to talk about coming close to winning it all, you should talk to Mark's future teammate, Carl Edwards. If he had raced in the 90s like Mark did, he very well could have cleaned house, but unfortunately, he was still a teenager at the time, so he'd have to wait until the 2000s, when NASCAR introduced their new championship system, the Chase for the Cup. Chase went through a few different iterations, but no matter what form it took, Carl just couldn't conquer it. Despite winning a series-high 9 races in 2008, he couldn't stay consistent enough to hang with the now 3-time champion Jimmie Johnson. Then, in 2011, despite being far and away the most consistent all season, he wound up tied in points with the much less consistent Tony Stewart, and the tiebreaker? Number of wins, of which Tony had 5 and Carl had just 1. Yet somehow neither of those losses quite compare to what he suffered in 2016. Just 1 loss in 1 race on 1 fateful night. By now, NASCAR had adapted their winner-takes-all championship race, and more so than any of his competitors, Carl was winning tonight. 47 laps total, including at the 15 to go mark, when a random car on a random part of the racetrack barely lost control, and yet NASCAR felt it pertinent enough to throw a caution. This stacked the field back up for a restart, and...
They're blocking, good go down low! Carl Edwards into the wall! He got tagged by the 22!
10 laps. Just 10 more laps and he would have finally had it. But instead he had to watch from the infield as the trophy would get snatched up by now 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson. Then, just a couple months later...
So I'm stepping away from full-time driving in the Cup Series. And I'm not taking any questions, so thanks for coming. Just joking.
Carl was easily one of the most upstanding and talented racers of his time. But a man, even a great man, can only take so much. But if Carl was tested by the racing gods, you could say that his teammate, Denny Hamlin, has been put through an odyssey. With a career that spans over 20 years now, Hamlin has been a consistent frontrunner throughout. Yet time after time, for one reason or another, he just couldn't get it done. In 2010, he was the odds-on favorite until he suffered a 72-point collapse in the last 2 races. In 2014, he made the first championship race as the favorite to win, but stayed out as others pitted for tires and got swallowed up on the restart. In 2019, he made it again, but suffered an overheating issue from a piece of grill tape the size of Texas. And then he lost again in 2020, and again in 2021, and then 3 straight years of coming up short in the most spectacular of ways in Martinsville. And to top it all off, nobody liked him. But this year, things were different. With a new look and a new crew chief, Hamlin won a series-high 6 races, made all the more impressive by the fact that he's been splitting his time between the racetrack and the courtroom, as his race team spent the whole year fighting in a lawsuit against NASCAR. Eventually, I'll have a video going into more detail. Believe me, there will be a video about this. But all you need to know is that, in a way, Denny became the voice of the people, the teams, the fans, everyone. And after his 60th career win that locked him into the championship race, something amazing happened. The crowd cheered.
I appreciate all of you so much.
It's also worth mentioning that Michael Jordan, Denny's business partner and longtime friend, gave his father a cigar encased in a frame with the note, "Break when we win the championship." He's had that cigar for many years now, and with the threat of a terminal illness, this may have been the last time that Denny's dad would get to see his son fight for a title. Heading into the finale at Phoenix, in stark contrast to previous years, most everyone wanted to see Denny win. And through practice, qualifying, and the race, Denny dominated in nearly every respect. He was the story of the weekend, though unfortunately, there was another. Tire failures. 13 blown tires plagued the event, including championship contenders Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, and literally right as the caution came out for a different blown tire, Denny's too. The only one of the championship 4 that didn't blow a tire was William Byron, who would surrender the lead with 26 laps to go, and Hamlin never looked back. He built an enormous lead, and as the laps ticked down, the entire sport watched with bated breath. It was starting to feel real, that this man, who had devoted his whole life not just to racing in NASCAR, but growing it and becoming its ambassador, that after 21 years of chasing the Cup, he would finally...
Oh boy, William Byron. William Byron has a tire issue and the caution is out.
Say what you will about the 4-tire call, or him trying to pull a ~��άρχ, or the fact that Larson would have won the championship regardless of the playoffs, but in the moment, this just felt wrong.
What can you do? It's just not meant to be.
And sometimes that's just the way it goes. The fastest car doesn't always win the race. It's something everyone has to make peace with at some point, but in these 3 instances, it'd be ignorant to chalk it all up to bad luck. There's no denying that there was some serious systematic manipulation, and while I try to keep these videos optimistic, just look at the results. Mark Martin actively resents the direction the sport's been headed.
I feel like what I accomplished in my career is being diminished by gimmicks.
Carl Edwards couldn't even stand to stick around for another season.
I know NASCAR was throwing those cautions to make it more exciting. That's a fact.
And now we're forced to wonder what Denny Hamlin, one of the most respected drivers of today, will do now.
At this point, there's just absolutely no way that I don't even think about race car right now. I'm gonna need some time on this one.
The frame of hindsight isn't a mirror, and we shouldn't treat it like one. After all, if it wasn't for the current system, Denny wouldn't have made it this far to begin with. So why does it feel so hopeless? Like we're stuck in a rut, and we're never gonna get out? I don't think I've ever seen so many people walk away from a season so disappointed. I mean, the fans were outraged. All couple thousand of them. Jesus Christ, the sport's in trouble. It's pretty damn obvious what needs to happen now, but regardless of where we go from here, the damage has already been done. Potential legacies laid waste, and in my opinion, what could have been one of the greatest stories in motorsports history. But hey, they couldn't perform when it mattered most, and these days, that's all that matters. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see some of the hijinks I got up to in Talladega, click the video on the left, and if you'd like to see something a little more upbeat, I've got a video about one of the greatest comebacks in sports history on the right. Your choice, one or the other, or maybe both, marathon it, I don't care. See you next season.